This week on CTV, we will be bringing you updates on the new recycling policies in Fort Collins.
Then we will take a look at the CSU 2019 Annual Crime Report.
Lastly, we will bring you updates on all the changes coming to the Lori Student Center Food Court. Good evening, Rams. I'm Jake Oskveric.
And I'm Delaney Allen. You know, Jake, based on the release of the 2019 Annual Safety Report from CSU, it seems like crime is largely on the decrease, but compared to last year, it is important to note that not all crimes are reported to the police. CSU's Annual Safety Report was released earlier this month. The safety report provides information on the prevalence of crimes across campus. Some crimes, however, specifically gender-based violent crimes, are known to be significantly underreported to authorities.
The safety report specifically provides information about crime that students report to authorities. There is a significant category of crime that goes underreported and unreported to campus officials, and those crimes are related to gender-based violence. So things like sexual assault, intimate partner abuse, and stalking are the most underreported crimes, both on campus as well as in the community. Victims are really hesitant when they experience these crimes to report them for a variety of reasons. We have some pretty great resources on our campus that are there specifically for people who are survivors of these crimes, as well as people who are in their support structure, so family and friends who have somebody who have experienced one of these crimes. Our Women and Gender Advocacy Center is a tremendous resource for folks who experience these crimes. The Victim Assistance Team is sort of a really unique campus resource because it's a campus resource that provides victim advocates for students who experience these crimes, and it's a tremendous resource for students on our campus. The data that's in the safety report is really, really useful information because it provides us with a picture of what crimes are happening on campus, but we absolutely have to remember that so many of those crimes are underreported, and that is a particular category of crime that is really underreported, and that's interpersonal violence. As a campus community, we can actually do a better job supporting survivors of these crimes by educating ourselves, which will provide a greater space for people who experience these crimes to feel comfortable, if they want to, coming forward to report that this is something that they've experienced.
The safety report is available online at safetyreport.colostate.edu. On-campus resources for victims of sexual violence include the Women and Gender Advocacy Center and the Victim Assistance Team hotline.
A Fort Collins woman who was arrested by an off-duty officer near CSU in 2017 is suing the city and the officer, alleging excessive force and police inaction. A lawsuit was officially filed on behalf of Kimberly Chancellor in District Court on the 4th of October against Officer Steven Sparacio. Sparacio was said to have been in street clothes heading to assignment when he saw Chancellor speeding while driving. He followed her until she parked her car when he tried to make contact with her. Chancellor was unresponsive to Sparacio's attempt to make contact and began to leave the scene when Sparacio physically took her into custody. A video captured by a bystander shows the officer interacting with Chancellor and pinning her to the ground. Both an internal investigation by Fort Collins Police and the Citizen Review Board determined Sparacio violated policy, but did not agree one way or the other whether or not he used violent force. We will have more information on this trial as it develops.
In a previous case of auto collision that occurred in early September, resulting in the deaths of a motorcyclist and his passenger, a mother of 8 recently just saw new developments. Larimer County Coroner's Office discovered in a recent toxicology test. The driver of the motorcycle, 30-year-old Brent Machado, was intoxicated during the time of the accident. Machado was said to have a blood alcohol content level of 0.0104 when he lost control of his motorcycle going around the corner on Highway 14 in the Poudre Canyon. It is illegal to operate a vehicle with a blood alcohol content of 0.08 or higher, according to law. The The passenger, Jamie Allen, had no toxicology tests performed on her due to the length of her stay in the hospital before she passed. She was 40 years old and had 8 children.
The weekend brought more news regarding traffic accidents and collisions. This time, a pedestrian was killed crossing Harmony Road at 8:45 at night on Friday. The accident occurred around the 200 block of West Harmony Road when a westbound Toyota minivan struck and killed a pedestrian not using a crosswalk. The pedestrian was transported to Medical Center of the Rockies, where he was later pronounced dead. His identity remains unknown at this time. The driver was uninjured during the collision. Westbound Harmony was closed for several hours following the accident. Our collision reconstruction team is working diligently to determine what led to this tragic outcome, said Assistant Chief Tim Doran of Fort Collins Police. Speed and alcohol did not appear to be factors, according to a news release.
The Lurie Student Center on the CSU campus will be getting a new restaurant in the building's popular food court that is heavily utilized by staff and students. Following the closing of Carl's Jr., Freddy's Frozen Custard will be opening a location in the place of Carl's Jr. Currently, the closest Freddy's to CSU is located just east off I-25 off Harmony Road in Timnath. Bringing in Freddy's is not the first change that has been made at the Lurie Student Center this year. Following the move of Fast Print and First National Bank and the opening of the new Canvas Credit Union, Freddy's will join the new 50/30 Elevated Eats as the new place to get food on campus.
Fort Collins has recently changed their regulations on what can and cannot be recycled, specifying exactly what materials are actually able to be recycled.
The City of Fort Collins has recently changed their regulations surrounding what is and isn't able to be recycled. These changes come during a worldwide push to quell single-use plastic usage.
So we're talking about the flimsiest of plastics. It's things like berry boxes and party cups and solo cups. The kind of container that you might get a deli sandwich in, we call them a clamshell.
These changes do not only apply to plastic recyclables, however. Certain papers are also a concern.
We're also worried about some of the paper grades. So, paper has been almost one of the most, bedrock kind of materials in the recycling stream. We call it mixed paper when you combine things like newspaper and junk mail and magazines, things like that.
Today, people are urged to take precursory steps to recycling.
It's important, to buy things in bulk. It's important to refuse something like a clamshell box, a deli box. Maybe you take your own container for your to-go food, or maybe when you leave a restaurant, instead of getting a styrofoam box, maybe you've brought, sort of that Tupperware kind of thing, or the rest to have it wrapped in tin foil, because when you get home, the tin foil can be recycled.
For further information on recycling rules here in Fort Collins, contact the Fort Collins Recycling Department at 970-221-6600.
Because of the constantly rising price of operating costs, Fort Collins residents could see a spike in their electricity bill again. The 5% increase residents saw in 2018 could be followed by another 5% increase in 2019, raising the average monthly bill $3.73 to a total of $78.37 a month. Today, City Council would be considering a package of ordinances setting utility rates for 2020. If approved, customers will also see a slight spike in their stormwater rates of 2%, increasing the average monthly bill by $4.03 every month. Overall, increases in electric rates for commercial developers would range from 4.4% for 0.6%, depending on rate class. We will have more information on this and the results of the City Council vote as it develops.
One of Fort Collins' most nationally recognized news stories since the turn of the century turns 10 years old today. On this day in 2009, the nation was stunned as camera crews captured a hot air balloon heading east across Colorado. Thought to be in the balloon was 6-year-old Falcon Henney of Fort Collins. Henney was said to have accidentally set the balloon in his parents' backyard into flight and was believed to be in it during the duration of its 90-minute flight. When the balloon landed, Henney was nowhere to be found until being located in the family's garage attic later that afternoon. After letting on during a TV interview that the whole thing may have been a hoax, Authorities investigated the situation, finding that to be true. Falcon's parents were going to use their story to help gain publicity on a show they were participating on. The parents were found guilty and ordered to serve jail time and pay a fine.
Well, Rams, that's all we have tonight for news, but stay tuned.
Stay safe out there, Rams. Have a good rest of your week.